Good afternoon. This is Saragordo File FECR 033971, State of Iowa versus Blair Greiman. Mr. Greiman is present with his attorney, Jason Hallberg. State of Iowa appears by County Attorney Carlisle Dalen. The matter scheduled for today is change of plea. Mr. Dalen, I see the state has filed an amendment to amend the charge to kidnapping in the third degree. Is that correct?
It is correct, Your Honor. Also with the enhancement provided in 901 capital A.2 parens 3 of the Iowa Code.
All right. That motion to amend the trial information will be granted, and we'll proceed on the amended trial information. Mr. Greiman, did you come to court today expecting and wishing to change your plea to guilty to the amended charge?
Yes, sir.
Have you decided to plead guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Have any threats or promises been made to you to persuade you to plead guilty? How old are you?
I'm 60 years old.
What's your level of education?
An AA degree.
Are you under the care of a physician, psychiatrist, or psychologist?
No.
Are you under the influence of alcohol, controlled substance, or medication?
No.
I must advise you of your rights to determine if you're pleading guilty because you are guilty and that there is a factual basis. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Let me know anytime if you don't understand something, if you need to talk to your lawyer about something, or you simply want to stop these plea proceedings. Will you do that for me?
Yes.
I understand you're currently on parole now, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Besides that, are you on probation or facing any other charges in this court or any other court?
No.
The reason I ask about that is to make sure you've had discussions with your attorney about the effects of pleading guilty here on your parole case, that probably your parole will be revoked in that case. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
All right. Mr. Hallberg, have you had time to discuss that with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. There was a trial information that was filed in this case that had minutes of testimony. Did you review that with your attorney and go over with your attorney any possible defenses that would be available to you to that charge?
Yes.
Mr. Hallberg, other than a general denial, are there any defenses that should be asserted for your client?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Greiman, are you been satisfied with the representation by your attorney?
Yes, sir.
A written guilty plea has been filed in this case. Mr. Hallberg, do you have a copy of that for him to look at?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you could turn to the 5th page, which would be the last page that has any writing on it. Is that your signature on the 5th page?
Yes, sir.
All right. And then going back to the first page, next to each paragraph are initials BG. Are those your initials?
Yes, sir.
By those initials, does that indicate you have read and understood each paragraph?
Yes.
Paragraph 4 on page 2 sets forth the possible penalties in this case. And I'm going to go over those with you. As a Class C felony, you would normally be facing 10 years in jail or in prison, but with the enhancement, you're facing 25 years in prison. Do you understand that?
Yep.
And because of the nature of this crime, that's a sentence that could not be suspended or you would not be put on probation. You would be going to prison. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
There's a possible fine of $1,370 to $13,660 and a 15% crime service surcharge that would be imposed upon that fine. Do you understand that? And what I'm telling you is the maximum possible penalties, so you're aware of essentially the worst case scenario. I know there's a plea agreement regarding that fine that we'll get to in a little bit, but I just want to make sure first you know kind of what the upper limit is. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. And do you understand what the possible fine would be?
Yes.
All right. In addition to that, you would might be required to pay Category B restitution unless there was a finding that you were not reasonably able to pay Category B cost. Do you understand that?
Yes.
I also understand that there'll be a request for pecuniary damages in this case, at least in the amount of $808.92, and the state might be able to ask for more if they find out that there's more damages out there. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You would have to pay court costs, which also are part of the Category B expenses. I don't know if there's existing no-contact order in this case, but you might be subject to a no-contact order at the time of sentencing. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
There are certain civil rights implications that go along with pleading guilty, such as not being able to possess a firearm and losing rights such as the right to vote or hold elective office. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You'd be required to submit a sample for DNA profiling, submit for fingerprinting. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Pursuant to Iowa Code Section or Chapter 692A, upon a finding that the crime was sexually motivated, you'd be subject to the sex offender registry pursuant to Chapter 692A, and as part of that, have to pay a civil penalty of $260. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The 25-year sentence would have limitations on reduction for good time while you're in prison. The sentence could be reduced no more than 15%. So 15% or 85% of 25 years would mean that you're looking at 21.25 years without any reduction. Do you understand that?
I do.
Mr. Dalen, I tried to go through all the things I need to tell Mr. Greiman about. Have I covered everything?
I believe so, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Dalen, is there a plea agreement in this case? Can you describe that plea agreement?
I can, Your Honor. Thank you. In this matter, this is a Class C forcible felony, so prison would be required. We talked about the 85% rule in this matter, where he would serve 85% before he would be eligible for parole. I am recommending that his fine be suspended and that he be classified as not being able to pay Category B expenses. So based on the nature of the sentence in this matter, that is the state's recommendation.
All right. Given the party's request that I be bound by that plea agreement pursuant to Rule 2210, I will be bound by that plea agreement, which specifically what you were worried about would be the suspension of the fine, and if based upon the state's representation that you can't pay Category B court costs, I'd also make that finding. So, do you understand that, Mr. Greiman?
Yes, and thank you.
There are certain constitutional rights that you give up by pleading guilty. Those are set forth at paragraph 3 of your written guilty plea. My wording and my order will be different than what's on page 3. You need to know that by pleading guilty, you're giving up the right to have a speedy and public trial, and there'll be no trial if you plead guilty. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You're entitled to have a trial by a jury, and the jury would have to return a unanimous verdict against you in order to convict you. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Pleading guilty, you're also giving up your right to participate in jury selection. Your attorney would be able to question all the jurors to determine if they are qualified, to challenge jurors for certain reasons, and to strike a certain number of jurors. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You are entitled to have an attorney represent you throughout the proceedings. If you could not afford an attorney, one would be appointed to represent you at public expense. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You are presumed innocent until the state proves you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. But by pleading guilty, you're giving up that presumption of innocence, admitting your guilt. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You have the right to confront and cross-examine witnesses called against you by the state, and you have the right to call and subpoena witnesses on your own behalf. Do you understand that?
Yes. You
have a privilege against self-incrimination. You do not have to testify at trial if you chose not to, and the state could not make any comment about that choice. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand each of these rights? Is it your intent to give up most of these rights by pleading guilty?
Yes, it is.
For the court to accept your plea of guilty, I must find there's a factual basis for the plea. I do that by reviewing the documents that we talked about that support the charge against you. Are those documents accurate enough I can rely upon them to know what the witnesses would say at the time of trial and such that I can rely upon them? Can I rely upon those documents?
Yes.
All right. I also need to hear from you as to what happened on the date of the incident on April 30, 2025. I would direct your attention to page 3 of your written guilty plea, which at paragraph 6, which sets forth what the state would have to prove with proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And on that date, would you agree that you confined, I want to refer to her by initials, HL, to an area near the back of her vehicle and prevented her from driving away and or accessing the public? Do you agree with that?
Yes.
And that goes to the element the state has to prove that you confined or removed the victim. Would you agree that your actions did confine or remove the victim?
They can find her, yes.
State also has to prove that you did this without her consent. And in your statement, do you agree that you did that without her consent?
Yes.
State also has to prove that you did it with the intent of committing sexual abuse. Do you agree with that statement?
Yes.
And did this all happen in Saragordo County?
Yes.
Is the state satisfied with that factual basis?
I am, Your Honor.
Then to the charge of the amended charge of kidnapping in the third degree in violation of Iowa Code Sections 710.1 and 710.4, how do you plead?
Guilty.
Mr. Hallberg, is there any reason why I should not accept your client's plea?
No, Your Honor.
Is there anything that I've admitted that could affect the validity of the plea?
No, Your Honor.
Sir, I find that you have voluntarily entered your plea with the understanding of your rights and the consequences of your plea. A factual basis exists for the plea. And I'm sorry, let me go back. I overlooked something. Thank you, Mr. Daly. I saw you looking at me. In addition to the enhancement regarding this case, the state charges you with prior convictions of kidnapping in the first degree and attempted murder in Saragordo case number 1446 and sex abuse second degree in Butler County case 2959 as prior sexually predatory felonies. Do you agree that you have those prior convictions?
Yes.
And in both those cases, were you represented by an attorney?
It was all one case.
All right.
Yes. Yes.
But you're represented by an attorney?
Yes, I was.
All right. Mr. Dalen, did that take care of that?
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Apologize for skipping that. Based upon that, I find that you have voluntarily entered your plea with understanding your rights and the consequences of your plea. A factual basis exists for the plea. The court accepts your plea and judges you guilty as to the amended trial information of kidnapping in the third degree with the enhancement pursuant to looking for that code section, Mr. Dalen.
It's 901 capital A.2 parens 3.
All right, thank you. In addition, the court makes a finding that the offenses were sexually motivated pursuant to Iowa Code Section 692A.126, based upon the defendant's statements here in court, as well as the minutes of testimony, which also capture what he had told police officers admitting to the sexual nature of his acts. You have the right to be sentenced more than 15 days from today. Your sentencing, or I must advise you, the right to challenge this plea proceeding. You may file a motion to arrest of judgment within 45 days of today and at least 5 days before sentencing, whichever is earlier. If you do not file a motion to arrest of judgment, you may not otherwise challenge the plea proceeding, although you do retain your rights of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
A pre-sentence investigation is ordered. You'll have to cooperate in the preparation of that report. Regarding a sentencing date, I'll schedule this for February 3rd at 9 a.m. Mr. Dale, any other matters for our record?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Hallberg, anything else for our record?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, everyone.